Greetings everyone! So this is the last video of the decade. I should do something really special and epic, but I have a lot of work on my plate right now, so I'm just going to do something simple. I did a video earlier in the summer on the case for localization, why I prefer as a professional anime translator to localize my translations versus make them more literal. What is localizing? What is literal? And check that video out if you have not already. I'm putting a card up by my face right now as I speak. Anyway, that script wound up getting a little long for the video that I had in mind, so there was some parts that I had to cut out. And there was one section in there that I wanted to show you guys a real life example of something that I have translated in a game, in an otome game. Those are sort of like light novels, but in game form, sort of like a choose your own adventure game, but not really. That's a whole other topic. But anyway, a little scene, little dialogue that I translated in an otome game. I want to show you guys a real life example of how I would localize that versus translate that. So let's just get to it. So first, I sign NDAs with my agency, which means I'm not allowed to disclose details about the projects that I translate. It's probably safe for me to say like the title of a series that I've translated in the past, but I'm paranoid, so I'm not even going to say the title of the series. And as such, I've changed the names of the characters just to make it a little less obvious what this game is. So here's the scene. Here's the setup for this scene. You name in brackets with little coding. That's usually how I write MC, the player, your name, because you can input whatever name you want in there. So she's name, basically, is her name. MC, a lot of fans will call the main character of an otome game. Anyway, you, MC, name, and your boyfriend, Toya, are visiting Kurosaki, a friend of his who runs a shop. You're visiting Kurosaki at his shop. And this is how the exchange in Japanese went. Kurosaki says, "Ya, name-chan, irashai." And then the narration says, "Kurosaki-san wa watashi o mitsukeru to nikoyaka ni mukaete kureru." And then Toya says, "Chotto, shinyu no ore no koto wa mushi suru wake?" And then Kurosaki responds, "Nanda ita no ka, Toya?" And then Toya responds with, "Hidoi!" And then the narration says, "Futari no aikawarazu no yaritori ni watashi wa omowazu waratte shimatta." So that's the little excerpt, the little scene. And now I'm going to break it down. But before I break it down, I'm going to give you my complete localization of this exchange. So this is if this dialogue were originally written in English instead of being translated from one language to another, this is how it would sound. I translate it this way, or I localize it this way rather, so that it does not sound like it was a translation. So it sounds like it was originally written in English. And I'm preserving the tone and personality of the characters in doing so. So anyway, Kurosaki says, "Hi, name, missed you, boo." Kurosaki smiles and waves cheerily when he sees me. Toya, "Hey, what am I, chopped liver?" Kurosaki, "Oh, hi, Toya, didn't see you there." Toya, "You suck!" I can't help but giggle at their usual banter. So now let's actually break down how I got to this localization. Those of you who understand Japanese might have been like, what? He never said boo. What? He never said suck. He never said liver. So I'm going to explain how I got to that localization. So the first line, Kurosaki says, "Ya, name-chan, irashai." So for one thing, we don't have chan in English. A lot of amateur translators, fan translators, and anime fans would like the chan kept in. I disagree with that. I think that it should be left out because we just don't have that equivalent in English, and a lot of anime fans, even if they think they know what chan means, they really don't. It really just does not have the same emotional impact for us as it does to people who were born and raised in Japan and who were immersed in the culture and know the language. So I disagree with keeping chan in. That's already probably alienated a bunch of you, and you're probably like, dislike! And it's like, hey, let me state my case. So anyway, chan, it's a cutesy suffix for a name. And by adding the chan to the end of her name, he's illustrating that either she is younger than him, like that's kind of an acceptable way to address someone who's younger than you, is you add the chan. And it's not to put the person down. It's not, you know, it's just something they do. They don't even really think about it. Aha, I am putting her down and demonstrating that I'm older by calling her chan. It's like, no, they don't think about it. They just call you chan. That's cutesy. It's kind of friendly, and it's demonstrating that, you know, kind of an endearing way that you're superior to a person. And then ya is this sort of flirty way of saying, hey there, hi. And then irashai is the short version of irashaimase, which is what a shopkeep would say to people who enter their store. So even though it's technically welcome, like welcome to my store, we just don't really have irashai or irashaimase in American culture, in English. It's something that they say without a second thought. Irashai, irashai, irashai. Like they don't literally, they're not consciously thinking, welcome, I wish you a warm welcome to my store. So I did not translate irashai as welcome. So the whole thought here, let's just look at the whole thing that's happening here. He's being flirty. He's saying yeah instead of konnichiwa, which would be like the polite generic hello, or yo, which would be the more casual, you know, hey there, you know, friend, person with whom I am casual. But he's saying yeah, which is more like flirty. And then adding the chan to the end of her name, which makes it kind of even cutesy or flirtier. So he's being really flirty here, and then he's saying irashai, which is like, it's a greeting really. As a shopkeep, it's a greeting. Yes, it technically means welcome, but it's like he's a shopkeep and he is greeting her. So he's being flirty with her and he's greeting her. So I really had to put in there that he was flirting with her. And a really easy way of doing that is to have him call her some kind of like pet name, nickname thing. The ya and the chan, that really lead to that. So I added boo in there. So I said, hi, name, and then I added missed you, boo, because another part of this story, they're seeing him and they haven't seen him in a while. I forgot to add that to the build up to this dialogue. Yeah, it's been a while since they've seen him. So if you haven't seen someone in a while, you might say missed you. Missed you is kind of a cutesy, flirty thing to say, and then the boo at the end is cutesy, and you know, he's kind of being cutesy and flirty. So, hi, name, missed you, boo. The next line, Kurosaki-san wa watashi o mitsukeru to, mitsukeru is to find someone, to locate someone. So that literally means when Kurosaki sees me. Nikoyaka ni is like smilingly. Mukaete kureru is like greets me, welcomes me. So when Kurosaki sees me, he greets me smilingly is like the very literal way of translating that. So I translated that. I localized that as Kurosaki smiles and waves cheerily when he sees me. So I added the waves. They wouldn't really do waving as much in Japanese culture, but you know, we would do that in Western culture. So that's why I added the waving. The mukaete kureru, the welcoming, waving, that kind of has that same feel to it. You're welcoming somebody. Or it's not even necessarily you're welcoming. Mukaete kureru means like to greet, to welcome and greet someone, sort of. So it's like, hey, name, missed you, boo. And then the next line, so Toya says, chotto! Exclamation point. So chotto literally means a little. So if I were translating that super literally, he would be saying, a little! And that just doesn't, that makes no sense whatsoever. Usually, hey is pretty much the way, that's the way most amateurs would translate that as well, and that's pretty correct. It's like, hey, whoa there, easy mister. It's that kind of feeling to it. Shinyu no ore. So shinyu is best friend, ore is me, masculine, so I, your best friend. Shinyu no ore no koto. So ore no koto or watashi no koto is like me. It's like about me. Me as a thing, basically. So me, your best friend. Wa, so as for me, your best friend. Mushi suru wake. Mushi suru is to ignore someone. And then wake, that's kind of hard to translate. But if you add that at the end of something, there was one character in Fruits Basket, God, I forget his name. I think he was the Ram character, but he would always add wake with a question at the end of something. It's kind of rude. Wake is sort of like the reason for something. Yeah, so I mean, it's sort of like explain to me why everything that came before that. So it's like shinyu no ore no koto wa mushi suru means to ignore me, your best friend. And then wake, it's like, why would you ignore me, your best friend? That's kind of literally what that sentence means. So like, hey, I'm your best friend, why are you ignoring me? Or, hey, why are you ignoring me, your best friend? That would be the literal translation of what he just said. But like I said, it's kind of rude. It has attitude. That wake at the end with the question mark it's very, very rude and attitudey. Again, if you're familiar with Fruits Basket, there's that one character, I think it's the Ram. It's the kid who's like possessed. And he does wake, at like all of his sentences, especially to Toru, are like that because he's just rude to her. But anyway, yeah, that. So basically, let's look at this entire sentence. He's indignant. He's angry at his best friend for, flirting with his girlfriend while ignoring him. And it's like, dude, we're best friends. It's like that kind of indignant and kind of rude retort. And it's also kind of funny to us, the reader. Also, this character that's in this game is himself an entertainer and a comedian. So taking all of those things into account with that sentence, instead of translating it as, hey, I'm your best friend, why are you ignoring me? I localize that as, hey, what am I, chopped liver? So that's kind of a cliche, you know, to ask that. But it's kind of funny, it's kind of witty, and it's expressing that sentiment. He's being sassy in that retort. He's still expressing the same thing. What am I, chopped liver is kind of like, hey, why are you ignoring me like I'm chopped liver? It's pretty much expressing the exact same sentiment, but it has the sass, it has the wit that we're looking at in the original Japanese, and then it expresses it so much better in English. Even though there was no chopped, there was no liver in the original Japanese, that's really the essence of what it means in English. Now the next line in Japanese, Kurosaki says, "Nanda ita no ka Toya?" So nanda means what, but it also kind of means like, oh. Ita no ka, so ita is the past tense of iru, which is to be. No ka is like a question mark. So basically, ita no ka is, oh, you were there. There's no pronoun you in there, but it's implied. Toya, when he says his name afterwards. So it's literally, what, Toya, you were there? Or, oh, Toya, you were there. That's literally what that means. Okay? Sounds weird though, right? Nobody talks like that. If this scene were happening originally in English, what would someone say? So let's look at the tone and what Kurosaki is trying to express and his attitude and everything about this sentence. So, nanda ita no ka Toya, actually this is a very commonly used, like sassy, witty burn in Japanese scenes. I've seen it a lot. So it's basically, he's like, oh, I didn't see you there. Like, oh, you were there? It's like basically just reinforcing that, oh, like, I don't care about you. I'm going to flirt with your girlfriend. Oh, you were there? You know, Toya is like yelling at him and giving him these sick burns. Like, what am I, chopped liver? And then Kurosaki has to retort with another burn. Like, oh, I didn't see you there. So you could go with, hey, I didn't see you there. Or, oh, Toya, I didn't know you were here. That kind of retort. I went with, oh, didn't see you there, Toya. And I added a hi in there, just be like more casual, like, oh, hi, Toya, I didn't see you there. Just to contrast with the way he greeted MC or name. Hi, name, missed you, boo. And then his best friend's like, oh, hey, oh, hi, didn't see you there. So I really wanted that contrast. I wanted the burn. I wanted the sass. I wanted the attitude. I wanted that casual rudeness in response to Toya's over the top, hey, what am I, chopped liver? And it's like, oh, hi, Toya, didn't see you there. So I wanted to show that contrast, be kind of sarcastic, and also be sassy and have the attitude in there. The next line, Toya says, hidoi. And if you watch enough anime, you know that that means cruel, basically. Hidoi, it's an adjective that means something is cruel. And oftentimes I'll see it translated as how cruel or that's cruel. But here's a question I'm going to ask. How many of you guys have ever actually said that? And how many of you guys have actually heard somebody say that? Like, how cruel! Like, would you say that to somebody if they did something mean to you? Like, if they grabbed your hair, would you say, how cruel? Like, I certainly would not say that. Nobody I know would say that. Nobody I've seen in any TV show would really say that, unless they're like, I don't know, a princess, like, oh, how cruel, unhand me, you scurvy cur. I don't know, like, it's just not really the way we talk in modern English. So even though it literally means cruel, I do not think that translating hidoi as how cruel is the way to go. It's just not natural. It's not the way we talk. What we would say in a situation like that, he's like, God damn it, you got me. Like, that was a sick burn. And I'm just frustrated now, and so I'm just going to insult you. Kind of indignantly like a child. So I went with, you suck! That's kind of what we would say in that sort of situation. Another thing, actually the way that I translated it in the game was lame with an exclamation point. So think of anything like that. Just get a little more outside the box, get a little more creative, and think, okay, how would I in that situation, or how would a character like Toya in that situation express that sentiment of, I'm just gonna yell in indignation because you're being mean to me, and you're also like clearly not as upset about this exchange as I am. You know, how would I express that? And so I went, in this case, with "you suck." And then the last line of narration, 二人の相変わらずのやりとりに. So 二人 is two people, literally, but it means the two men. 二人の, so the two men's. 相変わらず is like unchanging. It's like, they're back to their old tricks. It's like, this is nothing new. 相変わらずの, so again, we're adding more possessiveness to this sentence. やりとりに, so やりとり is like the giving tit for tat, the banter, the back and forth between two people. So the unchanging or the normal back and forth between those people, those two people, the two boys. Ni, so at or from or by, the usual back and forth between those two men. 私は思わず, 私は I, 思わず without thinking, 笑ってしまった. So that means I laughed and it was an accident. I shouldn't have really laughed. That's what the しまった part adds to that. So I often translate 思わず笑ってしまった or 思わず笑ってしまう. I often translate that as like, I can't help but laugh. And that expression comes up so many times in Otome games. Like, I can't help but smile, I can't help but laugh, I can't help but swoon. It's like, it's everywhere in there. I feel like I almost use it too much, but they use it too much. It's their fault, not mine. But anyway, 思わず笑ってしまった, without meaning to, I laughed, or I can't help but laugh. I just think that flows a lot better. So I can't help but giggle at their usual banter. So that's a lot more straightforward than localized. I think you'll see from this example that the narration, those lines are a little less flavorful, a little more on the literal-ish side, whereas the dialogue has a little more opportunity for localization. So that was it. Thanks to all my patrons for supporting this channel, including all the new patrons that I have received. I will give you all shout outs when your first payments go through on the 1st of January. Happy New Year to all of you. Akemashite omedetou gozaimasu. And I'll see you next year for the rest of my Japanese for Beginners series with Genki, and for more learning Japanese through anime episodes and through anime music. And I'm open to suggestions too. Bye!